Nearly a year ago, I would go on to make what would end up becoming one of the most important videos I would ever make. When I had uploaded it, it was simply the next video in line to be scheduled. But what would end up going over my head until much later is how I had accidentally made a recipe for my most successful video by far. This video, unsurprisingly, being my video where I first discussed the topic of power creep in Pokemon. The reason as to why it was so successful, though, is quite obvious, as no one before that point had really made a video dedicated to this subject, and it was because of that I would go on to make 2 more videos on it. Hell, I'm not even done, as the next video I have planned will be on the subject too. Granted, it's because of how frequently I've made videos on it that I've realized that I've never actually given an opinion on this topic. It's because of this that I figured that I'd finally do so and throw any potential misconceptions of my opinions out the window. Okay, I'm not dumb. I know you want to hear my opinions of power creep in Pokemon. That power creep does exist in other areas. Despite that, though, I'll only be discussing anime in that other area since card games are for nerds, and because I couldn't be bothered to find out which other areas it actually exists in. Also, just to narrow it down more, I'll only be discussing the shonen battle genre of anime, since it's the only one I can think of that has power creep involved at all. I want to start here with Dragon Ball Z, which is a series I heavily respect for being the foundation of what many other shonens would build upon. Despite this, the show is riddled with many problems, of which I discussed in my really shitty reviewing all anime video. Part of why that video is so terrible, though, mostly has to do with how I completely ignored its power creep problem. While I'm okay with characters like Master Roshi existing as a representation of the cap for how powerful a character could be in the original Dragon Ball, and I'm also okay with characters like Yamcha to exist as a joke, my problem lies in how the drastic increase of power leaves characters like Piccolo with nothing to eat but dust. And there's a reason for this too. The thing about Dragon Ball Z is that it follows a very simple formula of Goku and friends finding someone new to fight, and that's it. To increase the stakes of each fight, each new opponent would be given a higher power level. This, however, became predictable, so to raise the stakes even higher, they set the power level of Frieza to be significantly higher than anything previous, and that's where they jumped the shark, as now the only characters who could even come close to matching Goku's power would be whichever character they introduced next, leaving all of the previous characters who had been previously built up very well to be slowly forgotten. Granted, that's Dragon Ball Z. I haven't watched anything else Dragon Ball related, so if any other Dragon Ball series improves upon this, then please tell me in the comments. Granted, even though I don't know if Dragon Ball Super fixes the problem, I do know of another show that does so, and it's My Hero Academia. Now what I love about this show is that from the first episode it establishes a power cap in All Might, so that the strongest a character can become is somewhere slightly above him. Sure, this will very much make it so that setting up stakes for the series will be significantly more difficult, but it'll also make them more creative if done well, making for a series which in my opinion has far more potential, and that's why I think it's best that we avoid power creep in anime. Okay, so now we're on to the part that my core audience actually cares about, and it's how I feel about power creep in Pokemon. Now, based on how I've made 3 videos already bitching about the subject, my answer may surprise you, as I actually don't mind it. There's only 2 instances in which I feel like power creep has gone too far, though, with the first being the banning of Mega Rayquaza, and the second being how massive untiered has become. Starting with Mega Rayquaza, the Pokemon was banned from Ubers, which to those of you who didn't know was the tier that existed for banned Pokemon. This event really shook up how power creep was viewed, and is not something that is yet to be addressed, and has even been made worse, given how both forms of Zacian were banned 2 generations later. This doesn't rub me too far away though, as I can at least respect how you can at least use these Pokemon and anything goes. Granted, I still prefer to be able to use them in a tier with rules though, as using them isn't as fun with evasion running amok. And speaking of a tiering system though, it's the reason as to why I don't mind power creep, as even if a Pokemon got power crept away from OU, then I can at least use them in UU, and the tiering system is so nice too, because you also have RU, NU, PU, and ZU to immortalize every Pokemon and make them all useful, except for quite a few of the Pokemon in ZU. If it wasn't for this issue, then I would pretty much have no major issues of power creep, but as it stands, I still have no way of using Dunsparce in any useful way, and that makes me very sad. This is a reminder that even if the power creep problem isn't that bad yet, that it will be very soon, and it will take either more tears from Smogon or a heavy rebalance of the Pokemon themselves for this to not be a problem. Personally, though, addressing the issue isn't that much of a priority to me, and it only occasionally bothers me because, frankly, there's usually a Pokemon who outclasses an unusable one, and if there isn't, it doesn't matter to me because competitive Pokemon will always be fun. Even if the current generation is as unfun as Generation 8, then I can at least have the option to go back to a previous generation where a power correct Pokemon could still potentially be useful. But yeah, I don't have any good conclusions here, so I'm just gonna end the video now. I wish you guys the best day possible, and I'll see you guys next time.